Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Man vs. Mob. And this is the election night number 2 episode. It's not actually about the election. If your eyes are going crossed looking at the electoral map, if your brain is starting to get fuzzy listening to all of the punditry, if you're slamming your head against the wall, I'm trying to put out something, a short episode, albeit, that will distract you a little bit. So this episode is about how um, distance, wealth, money made, and age are false indicators of success and wisdom. So I'll break each of those down. When I say distance, what I mean is how a lot of people who think of themselves as cosmopolitan and well traveled have actually traveled many miles domestically and abroad and pretty much had close to the same experiences everywhere that they've gone. And maybe the window dressing has been slightly different, the cuisine, the clothes that people wear, the local music and dance. But I think people put on their blinders and generally try to be with people that are like them. They might speak another language. They might be ethnically or racially different, but generally they think like they do. So what I'm putting forward is that I think until you put forward an effort to really experience the entire range of personalities, of nationalities, of races and ethnicities, of classes, of philosophies, of political ideologies, of differing levels of intelligence, of differing physical abilities, of all of these different things, you really haven't seen the full complexity of the human experience in all of these different places. You've just had um, relatively similar experiences, although they seem different. So um, I'm putting forward that it leads to a sense of false worldliness, and I think we all need to be better at that to really get a more complex, nuanced view of the world and the different people that occupy it. Because from my experience, you actually don't really need to go very far to feel traveled. You can talk to people in your own neighborhood and get to know them a little bit more. Conversation is its own form of travel. It's pretty interesting, but certainly the number of miles that you've traveled in your life does not imply that you have been paying attention over those miles traveled to many different things. Um, so the second thing is the money that you make. A lot of people use money made as a metric to determine how successful somebody is or the mark that they have made on the world. And it's one metric, and it's a pretty crude metric, I would argue. I'm not one of those, hey man, money doesn't mean anything. It's just a construct, man. I think money is important and money enables all kinds of opportunity. But if you look at some of the most successful people, they can be utterly miserable because how you make your money, and not only that, but how you spend your money, and then the fact that having money enables generally more free time. It often also has lots of responsibility tied to it, but um, it often enables more free time and how you also spend your time, because time is another currency. All of these things impact your sense of happiness, your sense of self-worth, your sense of contribution and legacy and meaning uh, and purpose that you have. So you get a lot of people. I just heard recently in my travels, when I was driving, this was when I was in Houston, the song "Lonely" by Justin Bieber came on the radio for the first time I had heard it. So I don't really know how actually new it is, but a lot of people, they make fun of Justin Bieber. They look at his wild antics, kind of like people did with Britney Spears or Lindsay Lohan or Kanye West or anybody. And we say, well, first of all, we get resentful because we just go like, look at how stupid they're behaving, or why can't they just live their great lives with all of their money and resources? And oftentimes we miss how the materialistic uh, once again, I'll use the term window dressings of life. They don't really provide true happiness to the full extent because sometimes people judge you purely by those material things and they don't really know you at all. So what Justin Bieber is singing about is how, despite the fact that um, he has all these things and how he has parties and he has a mansion and everything, at the end of the night, he's ultimately basically left alone with nobody else there, and he has to face himself, looking at himself in the mirror, and deal with that, and how lonely it is, and how he doesn't feel like there's people who he can really um, talk to that would understand him, and there are people that laugh at him and judge him and all these things. So anyway, that's just a tangent, but um, money is not a good marker of success. I think that we're getting better at having a more nuanced understanding of what makes people successful and happy. And I think we're going to start to judge people differently in regard to how they spend their money, how they spend their time, um, how they're actually achieving happiness and their impact on other people, on the environment, on all these different things. So we're going to have a broader view of what success and what thriving is moving forward. And I think actually some of the people who spent a lot of their time really just focused on accumulating money are going to be looked at to some degree with pity, unfortunately. But I don't want people to um, sort of like look down on other people. I'm thinking that uh, all of us can really just get um, a broader appreciation for the different ways that people can contribute. So, and people who have money, I'm hoping that they can figure out ways to use it in ways that are um, enriching of the social fabric that we all share and in ways that make them happy as well. So the third thing, the final thing, is age. And once again, these are false markers of success and wisdom. So with age, I think we have this false impression that people who are older automatically confer some type of wisdom that comes with the many years that they've been alive. And well, I know a lot of older people who are very wise. I think it's false to equate age with wisdom. Um, there's that whole saying, respect your elders. I do think that you should just generally respect everyone. But the idea that, like I was just saying, having advanced years implies you automatically have wisdom, I think is what I've learned is a falsehood, because just because you have been alive for many years doesn't mean that you've been paying attention to much. It doesn't mean that you didn't go through life with blinders on, or with a very judgmental view of reality, or just entirely prejudiced, or entirely wrong, or entirely closed-minded. I think what wisdom ultimately is the patterns that you can pull from the vast array of experience and the open-mindedness at which you approach life, and what general patterns you can distill for other people, and also the constant willingness to be wrong and to be surprised and to be amazed by um, by the complexity and the nuance of life. So that's what wisdom is to me. And I think when we start to listen, when we start to get a better idea of where the true wisdom lies, rather than just assuming that it relies with people who are of advanced age, then we will be better off as a society for it and as individuals, because then we can learn what true wisdom will do for you, and not just revere false idols, so to speak. So that's really all I have for tonight. Like I said at the beginning, stay sane. Don't get the wall bloody, bashing your head against it. Don't injure your head. And whatever happens, we'll get through it. It's going to be messy in the short term, but the conversations like this one, granted, this was a monologue, but these are the things that we need to start talking about. So please share this. bring this to other people. I know it's kind of a weird, maybe a little heavy thing to just drop on someone, but maybe have them watch it and talk about it. But this is important stuff. This is really, we need, I think, a reset on a lot of the basics of life as to, okay, what are we aiming at here? What gives us happiness? What as a society should we be trying to accomplish? How can we successfully integrate the best aspects of the past with the most aspiring aspects of the future and not create some kind of dystopia where everybody is miserable and depressed and anxious and suicidal and resentful and wanting to um, like murder each other basically. So we're heading out of this, but just stay sane and keep being a part of the conversation. Take care of yourselves.